And hello and welcome once again we're back. You guys wanted us, you really liked the reviews we've done for the other shows. So we are back and we are going to be covering this season of ASOKA here on Reality Skewed Gamers. You guys know who I am. I'm Ranger J 1999 and the homies and homettes who will be joining me on this journey for Ahsoka. We've got first Kate the Great. Kate Gaming is joining us today. Kate, how are you?
I am good. Thank you for having me.
Yes, and also I try to get rid of them, but I can't. It's like a fungus. You know, you take the penicillin, and but I didn't take the penicillin all the way through, so he came back from the Hidden Lift Village wannabe. Fourth Hokage thing. Kyrelis is here.
How's it going? Thanks
That's
for having me.
going. How's everything with you, thing?
Good for the most part.
All
Can't
Like
complain.
right.
disappeared off the face of the earth, and then you're like, "Ooh, Ahsoka."
Well, it's gonna be interesting to hear what Thane has to say about Ahsoka.
Oh
Exactly.
God.
Yeah. And that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna give her our thoughts. Now, we didn't cover up the release episodes 1 and 2 last week, so we're just in with 3 out now. You know, we're gonna just group them all together. Um, Spoilers, huge spoilers. This is the spoiler show. I'm doing the Kermit the Frog flappy hands and stuff at spoilers. So if you say, hey, can't believe you guys spoiled it, well, you're the dumbass that listen. We warned you in here, and it'll be in the description of the video.
It's literally about the episodes.
Yeah, so we're going to get in deep. So I don't want to hear any complaining panses about that. So, and also this is going to be on YouTube. So, for any video, the content, if you can hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share with others, and feel free to leave comments. Let us know what you think about the first 3 episodes of Ahsoka. So, yeah, pretty much straightforward. So, with that, let's kick this party off. We'll go to Thanos Kyrelis Maximus Decimus Meridius here. Thane, 1 through 3 overall, how are you liking the Ahsoka series so far? Just general thoughts. We'll get into some specifics of each episode, but what are your overall thoughts?
They're progressively getting a lot better. I think that the each episode, it's really finding its identity. It's really finding its footing, and I think that each episode keeps getting better. And especially this last one, I would say, yeah, it really took a nice big jump.
All right. Kate Gaming, what are your overall thoughts of Ahsoka so far?
I really like it so far. I've always liked the storyline for Ahsoka and from Rebels. So this is kind of like combining like two parts of the Star Wars universe that I've really enjoyed so far.
Yes.
So
Yeah, I
I'm
think
excited.
I'm very excited as well. Um, the I think it's been very fluid. I like the characters, great scenes, good action scenes. I think the way they're doing this, no filler. Because I mean, spoiler. Here we go. I think episode 4 is going to be the conclusion of this first 4-parter, which I think is pretty much like part 1. How are they going to go find Thrawn and Ezra?
We
Right?
know Thrawn's coming. Like
Yeah,
we've all
we
seen the actor who's playing him in
yeah.
his role, so we you know Thrawn is coming. But I don't know if they ever confirmed that Ezra was coming or not. Did they?
They've left that very top secret. We
Yeah,
know
Okay,
to
we
I
saw,
thought I was
yeah,
like,
we
I
know
don't think
there's.
I've heard anything about Ezra, but
Well, the rumor is that
yeah.
Modoc or whatever the Inquisitor's name is, there's been a rumor that he is whatever his name is. I can't remember. Again, we're gonna suck at names, so if
I
you're gonna.
thought for the first like time I saw him, I thought they said his name was Rock. So
Oh, The Rock.
I was just like, why is his name
How
Rock?
come he didn't have the
can you
eyebrow lift? And where
smell?
was? Yeah, yeah. Um, but there's been rumors that some of the rumors I've seen online or seen videos on is that it's Ezra. I'm like, don't do that. That's
I
stupid.
don't
That'll
know.
make me go.
No,
I'll be done because there's no
that's not
way
going to be
that
Ezra.
yeah, it's not gonna be Ezra. Now the other one that I kind of like, I thought would be cool if they let Sam Witwer finally get some live action in Star Wars and make him kind of like a Star Killer character as the Inquisitor. It's like, yeah, I can see that. And you know, the other thing I'd be fine with, on how you guys feel, if he was nothing, he's just an Inquisitor. He was one of the Inquisitors. He's got some story, but not a major character. He's just there, part of the mercenary group that Balin is
Well, this
put
is
together.
set like after the Inquisitor, so there's really
Yeah, part of the Imperial Remnant.
none left at
Yeah,
this point. He's kind of like almost not rogue, but
doing his own thing.
Yeah, he's doing
He's
his
with
own thing.
Balin. He's getting paid. I would too.
Yeah.
Got all these
But
skills.
with him, I'm not like, it's one of those things like I'm not convinced he's completely like to the dark side. Just some of the stuff he says, I'm just like,
Who?
I don't know.
Balin or Modok?
Yeah.
Oh, we'll get to Balin.
Balin.
Yeah. We get that immediately. I think Balin has been so well done. Of course, shout out to the late great Ray Stevens. If you're going to go out like a baller, man, this is the role to do it on, because you can tell that of course they're not Jedi, but they're not Sith either. They're not
No.
they're not drinking the Kool-Aid for either of them. And you can tell kind of like their lightsabers, because it's made canon now that your lightsaber color reflects how you are in the Force, right? Theirs are not red; they're orange.
No, they're like orange. Yeah.
So that's like white and red mixed together, kind of thing, So they're and you tell in his character that he's not. He does what he needs to do, and he doesn't buy the two dogmatic views of the Force. He's like, I'm just gonna do my own thing. I'm gonna create my own thing. I think he's been a fantastic character. Let's start with Balin. So I'll go to you, Thane. You're being very quiet, which makes me nervous. I think Balin.
He's probably gonna be like, I hate them all.
Well, I think Balin's been fantastic. His apprentice too, man, and I like what they do with the apprentice. She questions, but she always respects Balin and listens to what he has to say. She's got the Padawan braid too. I noticed that first thing. I'm like, what's going on with that? So there's something going on. There's a little bit of his Jedi teaching going in there with her. I think they're really good. I think all the bad guys are really good in this thing. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, narratively speaking, they've been doing a good job with Valen and the apprentice to mirror Ahsoka and Sabine, because you have like that older, wiser, stoic master mentor figure, and then you have the crazy, passionate, little wild card apprentice for Sabine, and I forget the other apprentice name is, but
I don't have it in front of me right now, but yeah.
When
you say apprentice, we know who you mean.
Yeah, so they've been doing a good job. So like I don't know how long they're gonna stay in this story. I have we've seen the trailer that like Ahsoka and this guy at some point duke it out, and it, like you kind of said, like it seems like next episode is when we're going to see the conclusion of this first arc and stuff. And I have a feeling that maybe he doesn't make it out, but the apprentice does.
And I hope they don't turn. I saw Christian Harloff's review, and I agree with him. I don't need another bad guy turning good. Let's just let her be bad.
Yeah.
Here's a thought: let her be bad.
Exactly,
maybe she gets worse because maybe they do kill Kaylin or Balin. And it's like, okay, let her be bad. Why not? It's a novel idea.
And I also think that one of the reasons why, this one might, kind of wrap up in the next, not the apprentice, but the Valen might wrap up in the next episodes, because we have a lot of other big name players that are coming down the road.
Ron.
Yeah, well, him, we still don't know what the situation with Ezra is, and we still have to deal with the magistrate lady, who apparently now is
Morgan
Night
Elspeth.
Sister. So that's
yeah. I love that they made her Night Sister.
She remind me so much of like how I would picture a live action Marin.
Yeah.
Oh,
like I looked at her, I'm like, that can't be Marin. It looked like her to me.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at the actress's the name on that. Yeah, it's I didn't know this at the time, but I believe she's the daughter of Bruce Lee. Her
granddaughter,
okay.
Yeah, Deanna Lee Inasanto is her name, and she is actually the daughter of Bruce Lee. I thought I'd recognize her from somewhere or something, and I was like, I didn't pick up at first, but I'm like, oh, son of a, I'll be damned.
Honestly, I'm really glad they incorporated like the Night Sister into it, because just then you get the Night Sister magic along with it. And I've always found that intriguing.
Yeah.
But it's like you're also pulling different types of characters. You got the Inquisitor, the Night Sister, the two that are kind of operating like Sith, but they're not Sith.
No.
And then you got like the Mandalorian, Sabine. You got Ahsoka, who's Jedi, still follows, not technically a Jedi, but still follows the Jedi ways.
Yeah.
Sorta. A little bit. It's just cool how they're kind of pulling in a ton of different types of characters that we've seen like kind of like here and there throughout the universe.
Yeah. So the bad guys, I think they've done really well. And I like that they introduced the Night Sisters the mythos, the lore. We know it because we've watched and play games and do stuff together with Night Sister lore, whether it's Jedi Survivor or Fallen Order or watching Clone Wars, or there's a whole bunch of stuff associated with the Night Sisters. But I like that it started off where Ahsoka goes into the temple, and I remember when I first saw it, someone said that's Jedi. I'm like, that's not Jedi, that's Night Sisters. That looks exactly like Night Sister temple or something like that. And it is cool because we have seen some of the magic, because in the mythos of Star Wars, other people use the Force, but they use it differently, and all different kinds of factions and stuff that go about how they do the Force and what they do with it. For the Night Sisters is that magic that they have in tune with. So yeah, the bad guys for the most part have been really good. So let's talk about the good guys. I think they've nailed the good guys too. Ahsoka, awesome. The lady they've got playing Hera, phenomenal. This last episode when we saw Jason, I was just geeking out, like, oh my
I
god.
freaked out. I'm like, oh my god. I freaked out.
Yeah, and Chopper, we talked about Chopper already. Kate, I mean,
oh, I love Chopper. He was like,
he's
him and Sabine were always my favorites.
Yeah.
Like back in Rebels, I loved like his just the way he is.
Yeah, and I think Ahsoka has been brilliant. Hugh Yang has been my standout for the droids. I love Hugh Yang, and I think David Tennant's done an amazing job just voicing that character. I think they've really captured the essence of what Rebels was just years later. They're all older. They're all more mature. I've heard some complaints that Ahsoka's very one tone. Well, yeah, she's much older now than she was when she was Snips, when she was a kid.
Oh, yeah.
And she's a lot more mature when she was Commander Ahsoka on fighting Maul on Mandalore. And she's much older than when she was the Fulcrum, and she's been through a lot since then, and everything that she's been through. She's a wizened Jedi Master now. I mean, she's not a Jedi, but she's that level as far as I'm concerned. I mean, Luke respects her. We saw that in the Mandalorian episode. That makes sense to me. Harry's
I
still...
never understood.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I never understood the complaints about Ahsoka feeling different. I mean, I felt that Ahsoka from Rebels felt different, but it felt natural progression for the character. Like, it's like if you look at yourself when you were like a preteen, a teenager, a young adult, and adults, I mean, I hope that you're not the same person.
No, and it's one of those, I feel like Ahsoka is one of the characters that we've seen actually go through all these different phases of life, essentially. And she's kind of like at the point where like the older, wiser, but like you saw her as Snips, and she was definitely not how she is now. Like you've seen her grow, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, and she's gone through a lot of heartbreak too. Like, she's not had an easy life.
No, there's reasons why she's not a Jedi anymore. Technically, she follows the Jedi ways, but
yeah, we know she's in touch with Luke, and they're having conversations. But for her, I mean, she left the Jedi Order. I mean, she comes back and helps and becomes the Fulcrum. But she even says when she faces Vader, when they're at the Sith Temple in Rebels, revenge is not the Jedi way. I'm no Jedi. When she says she'll avenge.
Because even Hera feels like an older, more mature version of herself. The only one who feels like the Rebels version of the character is Sabine, but that's intentional because it's almost like she's stuck in that time and that mindset, like she's stuck in the past. So it's like, we're going to see her progression.
She's
depressed.
She's not over losing Ezra.
Yeah.
She's not over losing her friend.
She's still stuck in the past. So
all of them were
course,
those
characters are going to be the same, but like Hera feels like a more mature, obviously
she was always the mom of the group, but she's definitely the mom of the group now. And I love the way she has conversations with them all the time. She just knows what to say. She's that calming voice, that motherly voice you need to hear, that wise woman that just she just has always been that character that tells you what you need to hear, doesn't take your guff, but she's very nice about it. And she gets you to see that, whether it's with Ahsoka or with Sabine, having those conversations, which I really love the dialogue in this series as well. I think the interaction feels natural, like it's like we just left Rebels right into this with a more mature actual cadence to like how they're talking to one another, having these conversations. They're having heart-to-heart conversations about things. You know, Ahsoka's problem is she's afraid to commit to anything because of all the loss she's had, right? Um, Sabine is still rebellious, but stubborn, and a Mandalorian, but she's maturing too because she knows she's got to change. You know, and then there's the dynamic between those two personalities mashing that didn't quite work the first time with Ahsoka and Sabine. You got Hera being Hera, like she always is, who's now a general and leader of the you know the rebel forces. And then there's Chopper. Chopper's always Chopper.
Chopper's
I
amazing.
swear, in episode
I
2,
still miss Kanan though.
it's
I'm
so
like,
hard. I
oh,
know.
I miss Kanan.
Yeah.
But so actually question, because I was trying to remember and it was bothering me. When Rebels ended, or I guess really any time, did they ever really imply that Sabine was force sensitive?
No. So
No.
remember when
Okay.
Kanan was training her with the dark saber?
The dark saber, yeah.
He kind of said she has potential for something, but she wasn't ready for it. And really, the the thing that he taught her with using the dark saber is that she's a great warrior, but she doesn't have connection to the force, so she had to implement more of her Mandalorian tactics and skills when using the dark saber. And so that's where
Mhm.
her background is. I think it's cool that Sabine doesn't have force powers. You know, I mean, I don't know what they're going to do with that, and how
Well, the
that
way
journey.
Ahsoka kind of words is like we all have it in us.
Yes, we all have the
So
living.
I
We're all
mean,
part
we'll
of the living
see if she
force.
kind of is able to unlock it.
Yeah, which if they, I would like to see that she does it. Maybe they do something like there was a character from the Legends, Corran Horn. He was a Jedi, and he had connection to the Force, you know, with mind stuff, but he couldn't do anything telekinetically. Like he couldn't even do what Sabine was doing. But he had other gifts in the Force that he could use to his advantage. So there's different aspects of the Force. I
All kind
just
of like the Leia power then,
Yeah.
yeah, I
because
mean,
she used it for her intellect and like diplomacy and stuff.
yeah, stuff like that, feeling people out, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. He used it in combat to kind of sense how people were feeling in the moment and use that to his advantage more than anything. He could read, people's actions and stuff like that. But there's different ways that the force can manifest itself. But yeah, you even said it to Sabine that out of all the students I've ever known, you are the worst when it comes to the force. You
I
know?
know. I was like, I couldn't believe. I was like, oh no, he actually said
They're
that.
betting us over the head with that kind of stuff. So I have a feeling we'll get into like if we get to a theory part towards the end. I'll have a theory as to like where Sabine's storyline is going to go.
Yeah.
But they're hinting at us a little too much that she's not good with the Force for them to like not give her the Force, because at that point it just seems like they
I
were
don't know.
bullying her.
I hope that they don't. I like that she doesn't have the force, that she's something else, and if she does get the force, it'll be just like something unique in the force that we haven't, like Corn was. She can't do a lot of the stuff Jedi do, but she has these other talents that she can use, and she incorporates that with her fighting style as a Mandalorian and the Jedi, which would be kind of cool, right? Because then we'll have two Mandalorian Jedi's running around the universe, Grogu and Sabine, and that's pretty dope.
Yeah.
I would like that. Have them both in Mandalorian armor in the movie and just jumping around and doing stuff together. That would be good. Um, so we've hit it on some of the characters and stuff. Overall story, I think it's flowed really well. I thought the first episode introduced characters where they were, introduced what the mission is, they've been focused on the mission, and going through all the stuff that they've gone through episode 1, and then 2 mainly in the Carillion shipyards, and now 3 as they fly toward the planet. We know 4 is going to be on the planet. We've seen the trailers. You can kind of piece it together. Overall story, I think it flows very well. I think the scenes have been really well. Another thing I'm going to say that's really well done, the music. That punk rock scene when she was on the bike, God almighty, I love that. It's like it's Star Wars, but it's something different. And don't get me wrong, John Williams is the legend. He's the GOAT. But I like this composer. I don't know his name, but off the top of my head, but he is in so good. But your sense, we'll go to you, Kate. Overall story, everything, related to the story, the music, anything like that, how you're feeling about the overall story and arch and everything so far.
I mean, I think we've touched on the stories quite a bit. I really like how they introduce them. Kind of shows you where they've gone throughout the course since Rebels, which obviously Hera, Ahsoka, they've all kind of like gone on. Sabine's a little bit stuck in the past. Like I believe where she's staying now was actually Ezra's place,
Yes, that's
right?
correct. On Lothal. Yep.
Yeah. And then like to see her, she when you meet her, she doesn't have the Mandalorian armor on. It's kind of like stuffed under the desk or table, whatever, in a bag. So it kind of shows you how far away Sabine has gone from all that. So I thought that was really cool to see. Obviously, seeing Hera, seeing Chopper, like that's just I loved it.
In the Phantom.
Yes, I saw that. I was like, oh my God. And I was like, oh my God, I forgot how tiny it was compared to all these other ships. And then just the introduction of the bad guys, I thought that was like really well done. Other than I can just not remember their names yet.
Yeah,
But
Balin, and I don't remember the princess's name, but that's
I
fine.
don't
I can
remember.
pull it up
I
right now.
can
I'm like a
picture her,
Mandalorian.
but
Yeah,
I don't know her
yes.
name.
But I think they're very well done. Thane, overall story, the arc, the direction. I love everything that they've tied in and the direction each of them have had to go and why they've had to go there. Why are they doing the things that they're doing? It makes sense, and we've had no filler, thank God. I hope this story goes all 8 episodes. We have 2 big parts, and it has no filler. I don't want any filler in this damn. We don't need filler at this point. God Almighty.
Um, yeah, the first episode was, for, at least to me, it was definitely the weakest out of them. Nothing it's bad, but it was definitely the weakest. I think they spent a little too much time kind of like reintroducing us to these characters, but it it was good for the most part. The episode 2, it was really where it got like it found its footing. I really enjoyed episode 2. You definitely got to see a lot more of the personality of these characters, especially how they interact with each other. And then episode 3, I've really enjoyed Sabine and Ahsoka's interactions, because I think that their relationship is kind of going to be like the core for the remainder of this season. At least it looks like they're gearing it up this way. So I'm really liking that we're starting to see a lot of that being set up now, and we're seeing them develop both as friends and mentor and apprentice. And we're really trying to see why both characters are they are where they are. So the arcs of themselves, it's you get a sense of where the story's going, um, and they're planting a lot of seeds early on as to the different how different characters are going to play out. Like the magistrate lady, like she in and of herself feels a lot more menacing and a threat in this show than when we first saw her in that like episode of The Mandalorian. She just seemed kind of like a throwaway character. And then like, man, she just like 180 to like, she showed up and she's like, man, like, Thrawn, I'm scared of you.
Yeah, she follows Thrawn. It's like, holy God. Yeah, they've done so many good things. Seeing the Purgles this last episode, the space whales. Oh my God, that was so good. And I love that they're expanding the universe. We are now seeing that there's a whole nother universe that they're going to go to. What's going to be the implications of that? It gives them so many opportunities. Some of these shows, one of the criticisms is that been very condensed with the
Yeah.
character arcs and just the factions. This one's expanded it out. Now we have multiple factions in here. We got Balin, whatever his apprentice would call themselves. Let's call them Gray Jet or Dark Jedi. Let's just do that. We've got Night Sister. We've got former Inquisitors. We got mercenaries. We've got Ahsoka, who's a former Jedi. We've got a Mandalorian. We've got the
Yeah.
Rebel Alliance. And it's really neat to see that and now we've got this whole thing where there's a whole new galaxy out there. What does that mean? Once they get there, what's that going to be the implications? I know they're going to see Thrawn, but be careful what you wish for. What else is out there in another galaxy? The legend, they found the Vong, and the Vong ended up killing trillions of people. That's not good. Or you go and find them all, and then you awaken Abeloth, and then she comes along and starts killing tons of people. So you never know what they're going to find out there. I also think that the fight scenes, the choreography, the action scenes have been really good. This last one with the spaceship battles was pretty dope. The lightsaber scene, there's a great scene where Modoc, whatever his name is, was fighting Sabine on the Corellia shipyards, and he jumps up to get away from her, runs away, and then you just see his lightsaber come flying in, and Ahsoka just goes and let it
Yeah.
pass by. I was like, that's so
Yeah.
dope. Or when she cut his droid and was using it to try to get to him and using it as a shield to attack him. Let's talk about the action scenes in the show so far. I thought the choreography has been really good. Really show how Ahsoka is really learned from her experience. She's a phenomenal fighter. I thought that it's all been really well choreographed. Kate, what do you think? You know, the action sequences in the show so far.
I mean, I've enjoyed them all so far. I thought the scene with Ahsoka and the Inquisitor, like that was just really well done. Even Sabine going after the
Yeah.
apprentice, like, but I like that in a way that they didn't make Sabine like perfect.
No, she was getting her ass kicked.
Yeah,
She was outmatched.
yeah. And I'm glad they showed that because I feel like a lot of times it's just not like that. But I thought it was really well done because it shows that Sabine has ways to go. So yeah, no, I enjoyed it. And then the ship battle part, also really nicely done. I always enjoy the ships because it's just like the technology that goes into that is just really cool.
Yeah, it looked really great. Thane, your thoughts on the action and things in the show so far on that front?
Yeah, the lightsaber battles have been fun. The things I actually like the most are the starship fights. They've done a really good job with the starship fights. So, like seeing the ghost in this last episode with whatever those fighters are chasing down Ahsoka and
Like a
Sabine.
like a World War II dogfight, didn't it? You know,
Yeah,
like, that's what the way they,
Yeah.
you know, like they were the bomber and the tail gun and everything like that. I thought that was like, and I remember in the original Star Wars Episode 4, George Lucas used old scenes from World War II cameras from the B-50 or the B-26 bombers, whatever, the ones that were over Europe, doing the dogfights against the German fighters and stuff, and that's how they made the shots for the TIE fighters against the Falcon in the original one. And I had that sense here, but just better because the technology is way better than it was back then. Um,
And I divert for like 1 second because it just popped into my mind. That I think it was the opening sequence, so much resemblance to the opening of A New Hope.
yeah, except it wasn't
Oh,
stormtroopers; it was two powerful forces just going in and just
yeah.
murking folks, man. Oh my
But like just
god!
watching it, I was like, oh my God, this is exactly like what happened before.
And I
It's
like,
very reminiscent about it.
yeah, but I like in this one that Balin didn't want to fight. When you notice that
No.
the commander was being a cocky ass, and he saw through it. He's like, Jedi, okay, I've seen this show before. Okay, let me go arrest these guys. And he says, Balin, they have a conversation. He's like, okay, let me go see the prisoner. He's like, wait a minute. And then that's when Balin's like, okay, this guy's an asshole, and let's murk him. Might as well. Balin's been really good. I think the ending of was it episode 2, where Morgan's like, they're talking about Ahsoka, and he's like, it's regrettable if I'd have to fight her or kill her, and it's like, whether that's sympathetic. He's like, no, just being truthful. It's a waste.
Yeah.
There's so few Jedi. He's not, you know, he's got different intentions, and they're not all bad. They may be misguided, but I don't. He doesn't seem like he's not like a Sith. Just going around, like Vader, just Obi-Wan just murdering every, villages of kid, taking a kid and snapping his neck kind of stuff. He doesn't do that. He'll fight, he'll kill, but for that cheddar and for what his purpose. But yeah, that opening sequence was fantastic. What like so that scene stood out for you, Kate? Like, what's your
Oh
favorite
yeah.
scene? Is that your favorite scene out of the show so far, or
That one just stood out to me because it's very like almost a nostalgic feeling. Um Favorite scene so far, I don't even know. God, it's just there's a lot of moments I think for me, especially when you're catching up with the characters. Lots of like, oh look, it's Hera, Chopper. Like there's those kind of moments, but I think whatever is going to be my favorite scene has yet to come. So,
yeah, we still got plenty to watch. Thane, your favorite scene?
it's got to be the starfighting stuff. I mean, I can't. This last episode with the starfighting. I mean, starfighter stuff has like always been my favorite aspect of Star Wars as a whole. So besides, lightsabers and stuff. So anything that has a good, dogfight or good space battle is gonna grab my interest. But if I have to pick something that's not actiony, I would say that my favorite moment was probably the conversation between Ahsoka and Sabine when they're having like a drink in the middle of the ship,
Yeah.
and they're just talking about like, you know, like the Force and reaching out, and like, it felt, I'm not trying to be condescending, but it felt like a better version of the conversation that Obi-Wan had with Luke on the Falcon. So like this one worked because, and the reason it worked for me was because, you know Ahsoka can be stubborn in and of herself, right? She can be like a little strong headed. She can be a little, like, she feels like, she knows better than, she still has her flaws, right? So in that scene, it was her kind of like letting go of that and being like, okay, like, and we saw that later on in the fight too, where she's like, okay, Sabine, what do you need? Like, it's kind of like, rather than, her being like, well, I need you to do XYZ so you can become a Jedi. It's like, okay, let me reach out to you and see what do you need? What do you need from me? Which is what I saw in this episode from her, and why I like that scene is because again, you see it, progress in that fight, is because you see uh Ahsoka realizing what it means to be a mentor. And I mean, she was mentored by Anakin, who is, one of the most controlling people of all time, so of course, she's going to have that as a role model to being a mentor. And I think here is when she kind of realized she had to let go of that and be like, okay, well, if I'm going to mentor this person who's just as strong-headed, who's just as stubborn as me, it's like I need to let go and see what she needs from me so I can guide my apprentice, and I think that was probably my favorite moment of the series thus far.
Yeah, I think my favorite action sequence was the Hera Chopper chasing. God, I was in tears. Actually, the whole Corellia fight stuff was great, but seeing Chopper start banging on the
Chopper's
ship and
great.
yelling at Hera, and Hera's telling them to calm down, and then they start like, "Did you go through my stuff?" No, Chopper, I didn't go through your stuff. And just the reaction there, it's just like, oh my God, it is so good. They nailed Chopper so well. One of my favorite scenes was in this last episode when you see Hera talking to the New Republic. She's talking to Mon Mothma, and I love to see Mon Mothma is in there because that's kind of incongruent with the lore, as the new Supreme Chancellor kind of role, right? I think she is just Chancellor, but just undressing that guy. Like, did you fight in the war? Oh,
Hmm.
you just stood by the side and waiting to see who won, kind of thing. Just Hera doesn't take shit, and she's trying to make her point, but she's still she's not a politician. Harris sees what she's dealing with, what the here and now, and what I've got to deal with. She doesn't do politics. She never did it in Rebels. She never did it in anything. But she's a leader, and that's why she's in the position she is. But you can tell before she even got in there, like, let's see how Harris is going to handle this one. So I really like that dynamic that they had. One of the other scenes that stood out to me was when Yang is with Sabine in the infirmary after she's been stabbed. That whole conversation he has with her about, you know, she needs to get off her ass and quit making excuses, and just be herself. And, I thought there's been a lot of really good scenes. I know I've heard complaints now that I mentioned that. The lightsaber stab, Sabine should have died, that it's making lightsabers
I
weak.
was,
I was like,
yeah.
no, it's not. You've never been in a fight, you've never think where she got stabbed, it's survivable. The guy in the beginning wasn't survivable because he got stabbed through his heart, through his spine, through everything. That guy was toast as soon as he got stabbed. Sabine could survive that. And I mean, they immediately got her medical attention. It's not like she was there for 2 days and survived and, lived, so,
My
The
but,
immediate
lightsaber also
reaction was I
cauterizes.
thought she was done. I was
oh,
like, did
really?
they really just kill off Sabine like
You
episode
wouldn't be
one?
surprised, right? So any things you don't like. Let's look into some stuff that maybe it's not working for you so far. Sounds like for most part we're all on the same page that this has been really good. But has there been anything that you didn't like? I don't have anything. I mean, little nitpicks here and there, but I mean, not really. I mean, I've been very much into this series. Kate, what about you? Any complaints?
Not really. I mean, I know Thane said, I think he just said like he didn't really care that for how long they reintroduced the new characters, and you can yell at me, Thane, if I worded that wrong. But I think that was also necessary because there's a lot of new people watching this who
I
didn't
agree.
watch Rebels. And some of them are just like, I just don't want to watch a cartoon, and this is their first time meeting Hera and Chopper and all them.
Like, what's up with that stank droid?
So you can't just go into all of it assuming everybody knows all these characters, knows their backstory. So yeah, it went a little bit more in depth of the stories, but I don't have any complaints about it.
Okay. What about
I think
you?
that's very intriguing of where it can go.
I agree. Agree with that. Thing, anything from you?
Story wise, no. The only gripe that I had was, I mean, I've made it no secret. I think Dave Filoni's live action directing is has a lot to be desired. So episode one, I feel that the dialogue itself, the way that the actors were acting, was a little stiff, but that got remedied like literally the next episode when we switched directors. But besides that, like story wise, no. Like yeah, like I did think that the first episode, the pacing of it, well, maybe not the pacing of it, but the duration of how much they focus on the introduction was a bit much. Either they could have tightened up the episode a little bit, or given us a longer episode and have moved on a little quicker with it. But besides that, uh, the like I said, the show's been really, really finding its footing and stuff. And it's even though we joke around that it's Rebels 2.0, the fact that they're focusing on Ahsoka and Sabine, even though it does feel like a sequel to Rebels, it does feel like it has its own identity because of um tonality and because of the the shift in perspective that we're taking. I know I've seen a lot of people complain that it's a rehash of Kanan and Ezra with Ahsoka and Sabine, and I disagree with that take
I agree with that.
because like Ezra and Kanan, it was almost the reverse, where like if you want to make a comparison, but I don't think it's a comparison at all. I think it's the dynamic between Ahsoka and Sabine is, in my opinion, it's actually even more interesting than Ezra and Kanan was. I feel like Kanan and Ezra were a little more traditional characters and arcs and stuff, whereas this one feels unique.
We also don't really know what happened between Ahsoka and Sabine.
Yeah.
It's just there's implied, obviously, something happened to make them part ways, but we don't know what.
Yeah. Well, let's talk speculation where we think this is going. We know where this next episode is going to go. I mean, we've seen from the trailer, you can piece it together. Ahsoka and Sabine are going to fight the apprentice and MODOK. We know Sabine is going, or not Sabine, Ahsoka and Sabine, and then Ahsoka is going to meet up with Balin at the map. We know that's going to happen. So we know that part's probably in the next episode where the confrontation, you just saw at the end, episode 3, Balin sends the mercs out, but I don't like their chances against Ahsoka in that scenario. We've seen what Ahsoka could do against the droids and stuff, and we saw her previously in Mando and stuff. I wouldn't want to be a mercenary. Someone said, yeah, go after Ahsoka. I'd be like, no, I quit. I quit. Yeah, no. Unless I'm a Jedi myself, no, I quit. You better give me like full Beskar Mando armor so I can survive and get the hell out of there with the jetpack, so I can get the hell out of Dodge if it goes bad. But no, I wouldn't want to be one of those poor schmucks. So we know that they're going to have the confrontation, but any speculation thing? You mentioned speculation, some thoughts, speculation.
Yeah. So again, I have nothing to base this on besides just like own theories and stuff. But something that I thought would be interesting, and you kind of mentioned this earlier about like Sabine getting like different types of powers, and they haven't necessarily alluded to this directly, but it feels like the Night Sisters came from this other galaxy. And considering that the Night Sisters have a different way of using the Force, I wonder, not that the Force works differently there, but if the Force has like a different, I guess the way I can say it is like kind of a wavelength. So like what I think is that like, the Force, Ahsoka going there, she wouldn't be as effective with the Force because the Force is a slightly different frequency. So she has she'll struggle with the connection, and I think Sabine will actually be able to get more attuned with the Force there, and then that's how she'll get maybe some kind of different power because we see the Night Sisters have force abilities that are like unlike anything we've seen the Jedi or the Sith use. So I have a feeling that because of that shift in attunement with the force, it's the same force. I'm not saying it's a different force, but I think it's the same force. But because it has that slight change in frequency, the way that you can interact with it kind of changes a little bit. And I think that that's where Ahsoka is going to need to rely on Sabine, because I think Sabine is going to get like a slight buff because she's going to be a little more attuned to it, whereas Ahsoka is going to get a slight nerf while they're in that area, which will probably end up being the reason that Thrawn escapes and gets, back to the to the main galaxy.
Well, yeah, we know at the end Thrawn's how I can't wait to see Thrawn, man. So that looks so good. And we know we've just seen one glimpse of him, so it's going to be interesting. I don't really have any theories right now. I mean, through episode 4, because we know that they're going to have their confrontation. I don't know how they're going to play off. Does Morgan escape and then she goes after Thrawn, then they have to go after her after that, or are they going to hitch a ride with the
That's how I
whales?
gather.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how this is going to play out. Like, we know they've got one ship to get there. They're not all going. So how's that going to play, to go get Thrawn? They are going to get Thrawn. We know that. He's going to become the big baddie. He's the Thanos of this timeline right now. Any theories? You said no, you didn't have any theories, Kate, that you're thinking? I don't have any right now.
I mean, well, the Thrawn they've been hinting at in like all the recent stuff. So Thrawn is coming. Longer term wise, I think we're gonna find Ezra is still alive, but I think it's gonna be like the season finale is we find Ezra. And then season 2 is whatever is left after that.
Yeah, that he's MODOK, that's Inquisitor. I'm like, let me get this right. So Ezra,
that better not be Ezra.
I'm going to turn off because it's like, okay, let me get this right. Ezra, because we know in how Rebels ends, takes Thrawn with the Purgles.
There's no way
to the other universe.
Ezra. There's no way.
But he gets turned evil.
No, there's no way.
And he comes back, and they didn't want to ask Ezra, you know where Thrawn is? Maybe? You know how to get there? You got back. How'd you do it? I guess that didn't happen. It would be too stupid. I'm more down for him either being just random Inquisitor that's just working for them, or if they want to introduce Starkiller that way with Sam Witwer, I'd be down with that too. To get that kind of character, finally Legends, get Sam Witwer some love. I'm down with that. The other thing I'm interested in seeing is we know Hayden Christensen's going to be involved in this. I don't think it's
he is? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he is. He had his voiceover in one of the trailers and stuff, talking about to Ahsoka, like, I won't always be there for you as your master and blah, 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 and all that stuff. So we do know that there was reportedly, I have to go back and remember where I saw this.
Well, at this point in time, isn't Anakin dead?
Yeah, they're going to have flashbacks of him with a younger Ahsoka, during the Clone Wars or something like that. That's been said, or, yeah. We know
Force Ghost Anakin.
Wouldn't that be something, though, when Ahsoka needs him? I mean, he has been redeemed. He is a Force Ghost. To have Anakin come up to Ahsoka and be like, what are you doing? That kind of thing. Because we've not seen an interaction with Anakin and Ahsoka since their fight. She knows she's probably, we know she's talked to Luke and knows the story that he was redeemed, but they've had, I think that would be a great scene, maybe let's say Morgan escapes and they got to find a way to figure out how to get there. And then they go to some Jedi temple, and we know how those can be very spiritual places. And then we have a scene where Ahsoka has a flashback. I wouldn't mind in this if it was filler, but it was filler where we get some backstory showing Ahsoka, younger Ahsoka with Anakin, having Force Ghost Anakin, just her having a thing where she's trying to teach Sabine, but she's having her own recollections as she's dealing with her issues with Anakin and her. I would be perfect for me. I wouldn't have any problems with that. I don't know how you guys feel, but I'd love to see some scenes like that with Ahsoka and
yeah, if we had Force Ghost Anakin, I think it would be like he's teaching her a big lesson, like maybe something like it's helping her overcome whatever happened with Sabine, kind of thing. I think if they do go the Force Ghost route, that would be it. But you're probably more than likely gonna just have flashbacks,
which I'm okay with. I'm absolutely fine with that.
I am cool with Hayden Christensen.
Yeah,
I would prefer the Force Ghosts versus the flashbacks, personally.
Sure.
Because while flashbacks can be helpful, for character progression and stuff. Like
They need to have something so for the people that don't know the story, right? They've talked about it in the first 3 episodes that she is the apprentice of Anakin Skywalker, aka Darth Vader. So for fans that are not invested like we are,
well, I don't know if they ever did they specifically say they did say that was. I know they said like, oh, you're master.
Well, remember Hera and her had a conversation.
They
said,
specifically mentioned
Anakin never
right?
Anakin never
okay.
finished.
Yeah.
I never finished my training.
I do remember that now.
Anakin never got to finish my training, that kind of thing.
Yep.
If I could be mistaken, I'm sure the comments.
No, it was that.
God damn it, Rangers! In this scene here, it's like, okay, calm down. I can admit when I'm wrong. All right, calm your tits.
No, you're right. I specifically remember hearing that part.
But yeah,
I think that's why I would prefer the Force Ghost, is because I feel that if she is going to have this moment of need, I would like to see what like an older, wiser Anakin has to say, because like we haven't had that yet. We haven't had that. Force. We go back and do flashbacks and stuff. It's going to be like that young, cocky Anakin, right? So it's like we don't know what post Vader Anakin is like, and I think that would service the story and the lore a lot more. Because who else do we have to have that connection with Force Ghost Anakin, right? It's like her and Luke, right? It's like that's it. No one else is going to have a reason to necessarily speak with him, right? So if we're going to have Force Ghost Anakin at any point in time, like it has to be with Ahsoka.
I wouldn't mind if they had Ewan McGregor come in as Obi-Wan and have a conversation with her.
That'd be awesome.
That would be so.
But I mean,
funny.
Realistically, we had
maybe both. They both stand in front of her like, "Oh, Ahsoka, doing up to your nonsense again."
I mean, realistically, we have a whole series of Anakin flashbacks if we really want to
we got
look at it that way.
All of the Clone Wars.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know if they would. I guess they could do flashbacks. I hope they just do a Force Ghost, but
if they did some brief flashbacks,
they're probably going to do flashbacks.
They'll do something.
Yeah, it makes
just to bring people up to speed. But I don't think they'll go too far into it, just because there's literally a whole series of flashbacks if people really want to watch it.
Really want to learn, but just that. I think Force Ghost Anakin would be cool. But however they do it, I do think we need to see Anakin and Ahsoka in some way have a conversation in the here and now to get people like, oh God, Vader, oh, she was his apprentice. That gets people interested, and then they're like, maybe I need to go watch the Clone Wars and stuff like that. It's a smart move to get people more invested that are your casual watchers. Like, maybe I should go check out Rebels. Who's this Hera lady? Who's Sabine? Mandalorian Jedi? What the hell? Who are these characters on the mural? I love that they
Who is this astromech?
I love that they took this. Remember, because we talked about this when Rebels finished. Like, when we saw that scene. And when I saw that scene in the show, I was like, because we never knew when in the timeline did they go look for Ezra, because they do say that at the end of the Rebels they were going to go find Ezra. Now we know when in the timeline years later that they're getting together. They copied it pretty much the same, a few things a little different here and there, but her touching the mural and then them getting on the ship, I was like, yeah, that's the stuff right there. So yeah, any final thoughts? We'll give it a rating so far. I'm 4.75 out of 5 choppers on this. It's not perfect, but man, I'm really enjoying this. I'm not going to give it a 5 out of 5 so far, but 4.75 choppers out of choppers. So it's not a full chopper. He's missing a right arm or something, but maybe he can get it. Let's see how the series goes. Kate, out of 5 choppas, what are you going to give it?
I would say 4.5, just because I think there's a lot of room for, I don't even want to say improvement, but development. Growth. Yeah.
Like that. Thane, what about you?
I'll say right now I'm at 4 choppers. That first episode, like I said, was a little weak for me, but I would assume my rating is going to go up from here.
All right. So if you like this, let us know in the comments what you guys think of Ahsoka. As soon as I get done recording this, I'm going to try to throw it up immediately on our channel. If you like that, subscribe, hit the thumbs up. You can check out Kate on Twitch. You can check out Kate on. You haven't really been doing anything on YouTube of late, have you? Any videos?
Me?
Yeah. Anything for you?
I don't
Yeah.
do YouTube.
So
really.
Twitch, just Fight Kate Gaming on Twitch. We all do play Star Wars Galaxy Heroes, and we love playing Star Wars games and hang out and be hanging on our Discord, which you can join. Kate's always in there doing Phasmophobia and other games, so you can check her
doing
out.
a lot of stuff with like Finn and just he's on the Archie Variety channel. We do the Baldur's Gate 3. We have a game Tuesday nights. He does one Tuesday, Thursdays, but the one that me and Corinth and Grim are in is Tuesday nights, which I just don't know what I'm doing half the time.
That's okay. Most of the time that's us, so that's fine.
I set somebody on fire like at least once a game unintentionally.
Oh, good. You should. Make sure it's Finn.
It has been a couple times.
Yeah, set Finn on fire. Anything and thing he just, as I said, he just hangs out with us. We just become a friend. He just comes and talks Star Wars and gives me endless crap, and then I have to check him.
Disappeared for like months.
Well, that was my fault. That's my fault because I told him I don't want you doing anything other than get your workouts in and get your goddamn education done. Then you can start farting around. You can go to the Tashi station. You can fart around with his friends after that. So things been cracking the whip on thing there. So when he gets his degree and everything else, then he can play in the sandbox a little bit more. Right?
So we
thing?
can blame Ranger.
Right. I'm watching you.
Blaming Ranger.
That's right. I'll take it. Yes, I made him focused on his studies and get healthy.
No, that's nothing wrong with that.
That's right. All right, so leave comments, all that good stuff. So on behalf of myself, we'll be back next week at the same time. We'll check out episode 4, which I don't think I have the name of it yet. I had it and then I left it. It says season 1, episode 4. Well, what's the name of it? It says season 1, episode 4. I guess I'll have to wait till it comes out to get the actual name. I'd have to go deeper dive.
Call it episode 4.
Yeah, they have name. Like, I think this was something fly or something ships and fly or pilot and fly, whatever it was called.
I think it only said like chapters, like
chapter
1,
3,
chapter 2.
whatever. But
I don't think they had titles.
Well, this last chapter was Time to Fly.
Time to Fly, that's what it was.
Yes.
And it's briefly there, but but I don't see. Yeah, no, don't have to see. I have to go like check some. I don't want to dig into it right now. So everyone have a great rest of your day, night, morning, wherever you're at when you're watching this, and we'll see you next week for another Ahsoka review. Peace out.